Instructional design models, principles, and theories explore the most effective ways to impart information and skills to learners. The goal of instructional designs is to create a learning experience that is optimized for learner success. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Raisa C. Gallagher, and welcome to our new lesson, which is the Module 3, the Instructional Design Models, Principles, and Theories. So let's begin first with the distance learning. So what is distance learning? Distance learning is an educational model in which students and teachers do not meet in person, but rather communicate through technology such as video conferencing, online chat, and virtual classroom. Distance learning enables students to access educational content and complete assessments from anywhere if there is an internet connection. By utilizing flexible learning models, distance learning can help accommodate the needs of a variety of people, including those with learning disabilities, time constraints, or physical limitations. This form of education is beneficial to students who are unable to travel to a physical campus or attend classes on site. With the aid of technology, distance learning provides an effective and efficient way for students of all ages to pursue educational and career goals. Now let us all discover and learn the history of distance education.
An introduction to a brief history of distance learning. Distance learning has been around for a long time in many different guises, every era taking advantage of the technology of the time to make learning more and more accessible. As early as 1728, Caleb Phillips advertised private correspondence courses in the Boston Gazette. In the late 1700s into the 1800s, there were correspondence courses that allowed people to learn all manner of things via the mail. In 1840, Sir Isaac Pitman launched his correspondence courses in shorthand, enabling secretaries to learn via the mail by sending in their work for grading and correction. In 1892, the University of Chicago created the first college-level distance learning program. In the 1920s, Penn State and other colleges began offering courses through the radio. By 1925, over 200 colleges and universities had been granted radio broadcasting licenses. The 40s, 50s, and 60s saw expansion of the use of radio, television, and the telephone in distance learning. John Wilkinson Taylor partnered with NBC in 1948 to provide college by radio. The University of Houston offered the first televised college-accredited classes in 1965. Also in 1965, the first statewide telephone-based education program was offered by the University of Wisconsin. The establishment of the Internet, then known as ARPANET, in 1969 by the U.S. Department of Defense laid the foundations of the coming explosion of distance learning. Some highlights of the era of Internet distance learning. The University of Phoenix is founded in 1976 to provide adults more flexible higher education options. In 1992, the Electronic University Network offered a PhD program via the rising online platform America Online. Western Governors University was founded in 1997 by 19 U.S. governors to help facilitate distance learning for their rapidly growing populations. As the explosion of online opportunities continued, 1999 saw the introduction of new educational software tools, such as Blackboard and Desire to Learn, followed by Moodle in 2002. By 2003, 81% of colleges had at least one online course offering. Between 2002 and 2008, the number of students in online classes increased 187%. With the emergence of Khan Academy in 2008 and edX, which launched in 2012, distance learning students had become a significant proportion of all higher education students. In 2010, 83% of CEOs and small business owners in the United States considered online degrees to be as credible as traditional degrees. Which brings us to the present. According to Inside Higher Education, between 2016 and 2017, the number of students who took at least some courses online grew by 5.7%, despite declining enrollments overall. The percentage of all students who were enrolled in exclusively online programs grew to 15.4%, or about 1 in 6 students.
Now, let's talk about the types of distance education based on the medium. So we have here an internet, video, and audio. So when we say internet, this type of education is done through a platform such as an online course, webinar, virtual classrooms, or other digital format. And this type of distance education allows students to take courses from anywhere in the world, that they can interact with their teacher and stay on track with their coursework. Next is we have the video. So the other type of this distance education is video based. This type of courses are typically recorded in advance and sent to students to view whenever they choose. With video based courses, there is usually not a live instructor present. And last one is the audio. So this type of distance education generally consists of audio lecture, presentations, and podcasts, which can be accessed through a computer, tablet, or mobile device. With audio-based courses, the students typically have the ability to access the material at any time, which is often convenient for those with busy schedules. Now, the internet-based courses. So, the students receive instructions through websites, email, electronic bulletin boards, and messaging system. This means that internet-based courses are any type of educational program that is delivered online, and this includes traditional academic programs as well as non-traditional programs that don't involve physical attendance. So the examples of the internet-based courses are the online university courses, distance learning programs, web-based seminars, and online language courses. Next is we have the video-based courses. So this two types of video-based distance learning courses are available. Meaning, the video-based courses offer a visual learning experience which can be highly beneficial for students. These courses allow them to view lectures and demonstrations, online, use multimedia activities, and watch video tutorials. So that is the video-based courses. Next is we have the pre-recorded. So these are already recorded videotapes that are sent to the students, which they can view as per convenience. So meaning the pre-recorded or video content is a recording that has been made prior to being viewed or used. Next is we have the two-way interactive. The two-way interactive, the computer, satellites, cameras, and televisions allow teachers and students interact. It means that the two-way interactive technology is a form of communication that allows for two-way exchange of information. It allows for users to be enabled to communicate with each other in real time. Example of two-way interactive technology includes the text messages, online chat, video conferencing, and various social media platforms. Next is the audio-based course. This includes everything from phone conferences, radio broadcasting, and pre-recorded audio CDs. So meaning the audio-based courses are self-guided educational programs that use audio recordings rather than visual elements to provide instruction. These courses can be used to teach a variety of subjects from language and histories to computer programming and music theory. Now, who offers the distance learning programs? Most of the universities nowadays offer distance and online learning programs for bachelor degrees, master's degrees, and PhD programs. You are certain to find a course of your interest that offers you with the skills you need to achieve your educational and professional goals. Why distance learning? So these are the advantages. First is the ability to combine work with existing commitments. So meaning the distance learning allows individuals to combine work and existing commitments in ways that may not have been required to attend a traditional or on-campus program. So, second is cheaper. Distance learning is often cheaper because it does not require the expenses of renting physical space or supplies that traditional learning may require. So, all the materials and activities for distance learning courses can be accessed online or making it make us more affordable. Plus, the students can benefit from learning from the comfort of their own homes without needing to pay for transportation and from a physical classroom. Third is no deadlines. Distance learning does not typically have set deadlines, but this can vary depending on the learning environment, and in some cases, there are maybe deadlines set by the instructor for submitting assignments or taking the test. Number 4, less pressure. Distance learning is less pressure because you can learn at your own pace without worry of failing behind. Since you are able to take classes and do assignments as a time that is convenient for you, you can be sure that you are able to plan your time well and get overwhelmed. Number 5, no set start date. The distance learning allows students to begin their course material at any time rather than on a set schedule. So it is flexible and allows students to work at their own pace without having to adhere to set a date or to set a start date. This is particularly beneficial for students who are juggling work, school, and family. Number 6, you can decide your time and place to study. So distance learning allows you to decide your own study schedule and study from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to travel to attend classes or worry about being late for an exam, right? You can still interact with your instructors and classmates virtually and with the help of online discussions, video conferencing softwares, and digital learning platforms. And last, no matter where you live, you can still achieve a degree from anywhere in the world. So now let's move to the disadvantages of the distance learning. So first is the distance learning requires self-motivation. So it's challenging to stay motivated when working through coursework independently, right? So some may feel isolated and lack needed support when taking online courses. Second, lack of face-to-face time in virtual learning. So one of the biggest disadvantages of distance learning is the lack of face-to-face time. Although there are video conferencing platforms available to enhance communication between the students and educators, it can be still difficult for students to get same level of comprehension, support, and engagement as they would if they were in the traditional classrooms. This only limits the students' ability to fully understand and engage in lessons, but it also leads to a lack of motivation and self-discipline as students are left to their own devices to stay on track and manage their own learning process. Third, distance learning does not offer immediate feedback. Delayed feedback can have adverse effect on the motivation of the students. This can lead to confusion and difficulty in understanding course material, especially when instructors are not easily reachable for further clarification, as any mistakes or miscommunications can go unchecked for long periods of time. Number 4, distance learning can be must accredited. Distance learning program must meet certain standards set by accreditation bodies to be considered credible. If students transfer to another school or apply to the graduate program, their credits may not be accepted if the school or program is not accredited. Therefore, it is important for prospective students to research the credibility of any distance learning program before enrolling. 5. Distance learning does not give students the opportunity to work on oral communication skills. When learning through distance, the students lack the opportunity to gain and practice their oral communication skills. The students do not have the chance to demonstrate their knowledge and ideas through speaking, instead relying on written tasks alone. Number 6, distance learning does not always offer all the necessary courses online. So, one of the advantages of distance learning is that it does not always all necessary courses online. This can make it difficult to stay on track with your studies if you do not have the access to the full range of courses you need. You may not be able to continue in your studies or stay on track with a certain topic if the courses you need are not available online, which can be hindrance to completing your studies. And last one is distance learning requires you to have constant, reliable access to technology. So having constant, reliable access to technology can be a disadvantage for those who cannot afford or have limited access to the necessary technologies such as high internet access, a computer, or even the needed software applications. Attending classes is not for everyone, and lack of face-to-face interaction with teachers and peers can be issue for some. So now let's differentiate the synchronous and asynchronous learning. So what is asynchronous learning? So asynchronous learning is a learning that happens at the same time for the instructor and the learners. Meaning the synchronous learning occurs in real time, meaning the instructors and learners are all participating at the same time. This type of learning typically takes place in an online physical classroom, and learners can interact with the instructor and other participants as the course progresses. So the benefits of synchronous learning or the interaction between participants, exchange of knowledge and experience between participants, real-time feedback for the instructor, and training happens on fixed schedule. While the asynchronous learning is a learning that doesn't necessarily happen at the same time for the instructor and the learners, meaning it occurs at any time and it does not require for learners to be online or in physical classroom. Learners can access the material on their own time, usually via an online course or learning platform. This type of learning allows more flexibility and provides learners with the opportunity to study on their own schedule. So now, what are the benefits of asynchronous learning? So the benefits of asynchronous learning are the participants can learn or the students can learn their own time and schedule. And also the teachers can also benefits because they can spend less time in the classroom. Now, how does the AC LMS supports both way of learning? So you can build content in AC LMS for both asynchronous and asynchronous learning scenarios. AC LMS also provides tools for synchronous and asynchronous learning, such as live virtual classrooms and online discussion forum.
What is an LMS?
LMS stands for Learning Management System. An LMS is a web-based system that helps you automate employee training.
What can I do with an LMS?
With an LMS, you can gather all your learning materials in one place and make them available to all the learners in just one click. You can create a different group of learners according to their function or job position. Now you can assign them a single course or test, or a whole series of materials called a learning path, and easily track each learner's progress to encourage the leaders and help your team develop faster.
Sounds good. Still, the question is, who needs an LMS?
A wide range of different organizations, from high schools to large corporations, can benefit from using Learning Management System by reducing expenses for things like classroom rental, transport and accommodations, instructor's salary, and learning material printouts.
What else can an LMS help me with?
The right LMS helps you save time, set unified learning standards, and assess and develop employees' knowledge regularly.
What kind of business needs these benefits?
Large, medium, and small. Any kind of business can benefit from an LMS.
What benefits will my team get?
Access to learning materials anywhere, from any device. And an unlimited number of times to refresh knowledge anytime they need to. As well as an opportunity to collaborate with each other during the learning process.
And what does all that amount to?
Loyalty, motivation, and strong skills.
Now let's move to another topic, which is the blended learning. The blended learning is a style of education in which students learn via electronic and online media as well as traditional face-to-face teaching. Blended learning is an approach to education that combines classroom instruction with activities and materials found online. It can involve a combination of online instruction, self-paced lessons, and the use of technology to enhance the classroom experience.
When you think of learning, what comes to mind? Undoubtedly, your thoughts will turn to the traditional classroom, featuring an instructor standing in front of a group of students, imparting years of wisdom. In recent years, you may have been exposed to WBT, or web-based training, also known as e-learning. The benefits of learning online can't be ignored. Less travel, learning at your own pace at the time of your choosing, and wearing your pajamas to class. Classroom learning typically succeeds or fails based on the abilities of the instructor. WBT learning succeeds or fails based on the quality and instructional design of the learning module. So which is the best way to empower your team with the skills they need to be most effective? In short, neither. Rather than making the decision to go with just one form of learning, why not combine the best elements of both? Blended learning does just that. It takes WBT and combines it with classroom instruction to create a learning experience that produces better learning outcomes in a shorter time frame with a higher job skill effectiveness. So how are these amazing claims achieved? We start with the top-of-the-line, interactive, online learning modules that allow the student to grasp the foundational information at their own pace. Frequent knowledge checks, practice, games, and user interactions keep the student engaged. Post-tests measure the student's command of the content and point to any weak areas that need to be improved. Next, students gather in a classroom environment where the instructor is freed from spending valuable time covering the basics. Instead, the instructor builds upon the foundational knowledge and introduces higher-level concepts, which are then related to the student's specific work responsibilities. When appropriate, the class will work through a related project together to put all they are learning into action. Be warned, however, that simply because you have WBT paired with a classroom event does not guarantee a successful blended learning outcome. The OpusWorks cloud-based learning platform has been finely tuned over many years to orchestrate successful blended learning classes for both students and instructors. Modules, testing, assignments, materials, games, videos, class dates, message boards, instructor chat, class polling, project tracking, reporting, statistics, and more all combine to form the backbone of the learning experience. When teamed with properly trained instructors, the results are simply unbeatable.
This form of learning offers students the ability to take advantage of all these different methods to maximize their understanding and application of knowledge in their own coursework. Now, these are the benefits of the blended learning, the blended learning models, blended learning best practices, and real-life blended learning examples. So first is the accounting for everyone. So the blended learning takes every type of learning into account, whether they prefer the familiar, traditional classroom, would rather learn online, or try to a mix of both. Without the limitations of a classroom or all online course, blended learning utilizes the variety of methodologies, so the content can be customized to the learner and optimized for the subject matter. Number 2, learning trends and feedback. Blended learning uses online and offline technologies in tandem, allowing instructors to quickly adapt the latest learning trends and modalities into the curriculum. Instructors can also use belt reporting features in most LMS software programs for deeper and data-driven insights into students' progress and success. Number 3, lower cost. In-class training may seem like a cheaper option when compared to e-learning development, but consider the true cost of face-to-face sessions. Time away from work, paying instructors, and flying in remote employees can eat up a significant amount of the L&D budget. A blended e-learning approach cuts down on travel costs and can be used again and again, which reduces instructor time as well. Number 4, fun and engagement. Blended learning is an interactive experience in every sense of the word. Learners reinforce the offline lessons by practicing online through a variety of different content media, and each geared to suit a certain learning style. Learners can choose which type of content they way to interact with and practice what they learn and communicate with instructors and other learners in any time and on any device. The community experience between learners engage and informs teachers about their progress and areas needing more attention. And last one is the reach and personalization. So the global organizations face the challenges of making learning universal. No matter the branch location, the language interpretation and travel can also be concerns, both of which are easily addressed by blended e-learning that brings training to all employees, whether they work in or another country or from home. Next is the blended learning models. The blended learning models are the approaches to instruction that integrate traditional face-to-face instruction with online learning. So this helps you personalize your subject matter for time considerations, learning techniques, and even personal preferences. But implementing a blended learning model, it requires big changes to how the way you think about the training. So these are the following of blended learning methods, and see if they might work for you.
This video is about the 6 models of blended learning. Blended learning combines face-to-face instruction with online learning. This rapidly growing model not only increases the flexibility and the individualization of the student learning experiences, but also allows teachers to expand the time they spend as facilitators of learning. The first model is called face-to-face driver model, and this is actually the introduction of online instruction, but decided on a case-by-case basis. So that means only certain students in a given class will participate in any form of blended learning. The second model is called rotation, and that means that the students rotate between different stations on a fixed schedule, either working online or spending face-to-face time with the teacher. Then we have the flex model, that is, material is primarily delivered online. Although teachers are in the room to provide on-site support, the learning is primarily self-guided. Students independently learn and practice new concepts in a digital environment. Another model is the online lab, and this is a viable option for students to complete their courses, even those courses that are not offered at a specific school site. So students learn entirely online, but travel to a dedicated computer lab to complete the coursework. So adults supervise the lab, but they are not trained teachers. And this is not only to offer courses for which we have no teachers or not enough teachers, but also it allows the students to work at a pace and in a subject area that suits them without affecting the learning environment of other students. There is also the self-blend model, and this gives the students the opportunity to take classes beyond what is already offered at the school. While these individuals will attend a traditional school environment, they also opt to supplement their learning through online courses offered remotely. Self-blend is ideal for the students who want to take additional advanced placement courses or who have an interest in a subject area that is not covered in the traditional course catalog. Obviously, they have to be very self-motivated. And lastly, the online driver model. So students work remotely and the material is primarily delivered through an online platform. So although face-to-face check-ins are optional, students can usually chat with teachers online if they have a question. It is ideal for students who need more flexibility and independence in their daily schedules, like adults, right? We all have a work to do or something else, or a family to attend. So ideal for that.
Overall, I conclude that the blended learning is effective because learners aren't just watching or hearing, but they can also doing. So by applying the new knowledge shortly after they've left the physical or virtual classroom, the learners retain what they've learned, and which is when to win for all. Now let's talk about the flexible learning. The flexible learning in higher education believes that flexible learning is about empowering students by offering them choices in how, what, when, and where they learn, the pace, place, and mode of delivery. The flexible learning requires a balance of power of institutions and students and seeks to find ways in which choice can be provided that is economically viable and appropriately manageable for institutions and students alike. Now, the framework for flexible learning in higher education. This framework is designed to be an efficient and effective way to allow students to gain skills and knowledge from different sources of instruction without being limited by physical and geographical constraints. It can be used to create a learning environment that is more accessible to all students, regardless of their location and income level, and to create an inclusive educational system that is equitable for all students. So this is the essential frameworks for enhancing student success in flexible learning in higher education. So the framework, as you can see, it represented the diagram, maps, the significant elements of the flexible learning terrain. It provides a way of reviewing your institution's flexible learning provision by providing an overview of flexible learning, and the framework offers an instructor within which creative thinking and innovative approaches to learning and teaching can be considered. So there are four key areas of focus. These four key areas of focus is flexibility of offering students choices about the pace, place, and mode of their study. Choices articulated in the next ring of how, what, where, and when. There are four further areas of focus. First is technology enhanced learning. A high degree of mobile learning and design of learning spaces that support it, innovative pedagogies, and collaborative working, embedding digital literacies for both students and staff, and the use of learning analytics to provide personalized and approach as is possible. Second is the employment. Developing strong collaborations and partnerships with the employment sector to include work-based and workplace learning, thus addressing a student's long-term employability and a seamless intersection between employers and higher education and HEPs through flexible working, which offers employees similar choices in how, where, and when they work. This takes place in the context of increasing globalization. Next is we have the institutional systems and instructors. The infrastructures that HEPs have in place and on which they depend for their efficient functioning. These include administrative and financial systems, as well as academic regulations and the availability of support services. Support institutional systems and structures are designed for flexibility rather than homogeneity. And next is to have the pedagogical approaches, the way in which learning, teaching, and assessment takes place under underpinning philosophies and rationales This may include the incorporation of techniques intended to foster an independent as well as lifelong learning, and the ability for students to design their own program of study. There are contributing components. So each of the four further areas of focus has a number of component parts, all of which contribute to enhancing or hindering the degree of flexible learning available to students. This area of the framework serves as a prompt for ensuring that wider implications of intended action have been considered. An investment in mobile technologies, which offers students greater flexibility in when, where, and why whom they learn. Again, the flexible learning is a method of learning where students are given freedom in how, what, when, and where they learn. Flexible learning environments address how physical space is used, how students are grouped during learning, and how time is used throughout teaching. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye-bye.